This is Allison. All right, today we're going to be talking about shipping from overseas. You guys, it's not complicated. So there's a lot of stuff out there that can absolutely complicate it, but don't do that. We're going to think about it simple and we're going to get it done. If not, it's going to knock you out because there's some things that you need to watch out for. So shipping overseas, there's three things that I'm going to, there's three ways to get your product here from overseas. So let's go through them real quick. Air shipping. It is the fastest, it costs the most, and no broker is needed. So if you have something small like socks or jewelry or, I don't know, something smaller and lightweight, you want to do air shipping. It does cost the most, but it's such a small package that it's really not going to be ginormous, right? So look at your numbers. Ask for a quote for air shipping, and they'll let you know for sure. So like on my pillows, I weigh the difference between how long it takes to air ship them versus boat ship them, and I compare the pricing. I've run out of pillowcases before, so I've had to have them air shipped. Did it cost me double the amount? It did on the shipping, but guess what? It was worth it because I had run out of pillowcases. We were going into fourth quarter and I wanted to make those sales. If I didn't spend a little bit more money on the air shipping, I would have missed all those sales. So look at air shipping. It might be a little bit more expensive, but if it's holding you back from making sales, then that's a lot more expensive. So compare your air shipping to your boat shipping. All right, now when you do ship on the boat, it's broken down into two categories. One is called the LCL. That is when they put your product on a pallet and you share a container. So it's like your product, the trains that you see going back and forth, and they have those big, huge square box containers. That's literally what your stuff is in. And so you're on an LCL, you're renting out a portion of that container. So you're splitting it with other companies who don't have an entire container to fill. An LCL means you're just sharing a container with a bunch of other people. So it usually comes on a pallet. It costs a lot. And I say costs a lot, but you guys, this is all in retrospect, right? Build it into your margins. So usually when you get stuff from China, for instance, it's so cheap over there that if you have to pay an extra $3 or $4 in an LCL shipment, you're still making great margins. But just pay attention. There was one time when I ordered some ribbon, and I'm so excited. And we did an LCL shipment, and I got the product, opened it up, I touched this ribbon, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is the best stuff ever. Super excited. And then I got the LCL bill, and the LCL bill cost more than the cost of the product. That was backwards. There was a few things that I totally missed, and I'll talk about that in a little bit, but know your costs. Know your costs. You need a broker to do this. If you Google or if you search a shipping broker in your city, you're going to find a lot. There's a lot out there that are more than willing to help. I've got one. He's great, and he's in Utah, and I call him all the time, and I'm like, hey, what about this? What about that? How much is this going to cost? And he just tells me it's going to cost you this much. It's going to cost you that much. And so I can prepare for it. And so I don't have another shock of when I get ribbon or whatever the product is, my LCL payment isn't going to be ginormous. I'm going to know. And he's also fighting for me to get lower costs too. So having a broker, well worth their weight in gold. And they just build it into the cost, so you're not paying additional. Well, you are, but it's built into the cost, and they can give you a quote on that cost. All right, then the second way to get your products over here, a container. Now, here are the positive things with a container. It costs a lot less to ship a container than it does an LCL. And I've shipped in full containers before, and a full container costs about $3,000. And some have been up to $5,000, but it's usually around $3,000 for a container, right? But I have to pay to fill that container. And that can be anywhere from $100,000 to $500,000. So usually container is when you are a bigger growing business and you can start importing over a heck of a lot more. And you absolutely need a broker on this one. Now, why I say it costs a lot less than an LCL is because if you have like 30 products in that container and you divide it up by your $3,000, that's where I'm coming up with. It costs a lot less than an LCL. LCLs, remember that ribbon that I was just telling you about? You guys, that one cost me over $3,000. I believe it was $3,400 just for a pallet of ribbon. And I can get a whole container for around $3,000. So you can kind of play with that. But if you go into it and you know your costs, work with a broker, you're not going to have any surprises. And I'm going to tell you another little secret is you plan for duty fees and anti-dumping fees. Your broker can help you plan for these. They look at these weird numbers for anti-dumping. The reason why I was charged so much for that ribbon is because it wasn't in the anti-dumping bracket. And so I ended up paying like 50% of the cost of the product plus shipping. That was why. So now this is how I protect myself and how you guys can protect yourselves too, is I double check the fees. I go to my broker and I say, hey, I'm thinking about shipping this polyester pillowcase or this cotton pillowcase. And I tell him exactly what I'm doing. And then he can give me a quote back and say, oh, it's going to be this price or this price. Or, hey, Allison, if you tweak it and do polyester versus cotton, whatever it is, it's a lot cheaper. So I did go to him with one of my products, and the manufacturer had been charging me about 14%. We were able to drop it down to 11% because he did a little bit more research on it. You guys, he saved me thousands of dollars. To me, those are the people that I want on my team, to be able to knock out the over crazy fees that we have to pay. So when you start importing from China, when you start getting bigger containers, LCLs or containers, you need a broker. Air shipping, you don't need a broker, but LCL or a container, you need a broker. And then, okay, let's take this one more step. So we've talked about how to get it in from China, right? Now let's talk about when you have it here in America, or if you're in Australia, whatever country you're in, you're listening to this right now. Think about how you're going to package your product. If you buy a desk from China and have it shipped over, shipping on a desk is pretty darn expensive, right? So you need to make sure those margins work well, because no one's going to want to pay $80, $90 to ship a desk, and desks can cost that much to ship. So make sure you can help build those margins into your product so that your customers don't feel like they're paying so much in shipping. Another thing is check if you can put it in a flat rate envelope or a flat rate box, a regional flat A box. Those have been really well for us. I wouldn't say it still costs us money, and we don't like paying when we don't have to, but they do us a service and they get our packages to our customers. So honestly, when I start designing or developing a product, or even when I buy, I look at the dimensions and say, okay, this product is 12 inches by 36 inches. Then I'm like, okay, that's going to cost me about 15 to 20 bucks to ship. Do I have that? Can I build that into my margins? If I say no, then I won't do it. But if it's a product that's 11 by 11 by 11, and I know I can stick it in a 12 by 12 by 12 box, absolutely. Absolutely. So kind of think about this backwards. Look at the product. Is it manageable to ship? And is it breakable? You don't want to ship. And people ship glass all the time, but oh man, I try and stay away from glass. It can be pretty stressful. So look at your product and say, okay, is this going to be hard to ship this product? Yes or no? And then you kind of work backwards from that. So I hope that helps you guys. You stuck with me through this lesson. I know shipping is so boring, but really, you guys, if you can get this nailed down, this can save you thousands of dollars. And then you can use that to go buy, I don't know, ice cream, like the really, really good kind. Ooh, gelato, coconut gelato. Are you guys loving that? Oh, me too. Anyways, okay, there's your shipping. I'll talk to you later.